Hi, Ben here with Amtex Equipment, Repair Shop Online. Today we're going to talk about rebuilding the head of your pump, your pressure pump. That could be a result in, let's say you're experiencing loss of pressure and there is no pressure at the machine. Some other symptoms might be extreme shaking and vibration in your garden hose, or your pressure hoses are extremely vibrating all over the place. So these all could be results of a bad head of the pump that might contain burned check valve seals and what have you. Now, some of the areas you need to always make sure that the water is connected to the machine, because we do have sensors on our machine that they will detect no water, no go. But in some areas, you might make a decision of disconnecting our safety sensor just to run the machine because you don't have no water source to run the machine. That will cause damages to the head of the pump. Even though the head of the pump is designed to handle 160 degrees, but if you run it dry, it does not take that long for it to go through a meltdown and damage itself. Now, some of the other symptoms that you might see as far as the loss of pressure, it could be a result of a bad regulator, which I've already explained to you in prior videos. But let's say we have already checked our regulator, everything good. And so the next point we're going to go, the next area we're going to look into, it will be the head of the pump. Let's just go to the machine and we kind of tell you how this thing can be done. All our pump, as you know, they're all mounted in an area that you can simply have a very clear access to them. For example, on this one, by removing these two bowls, you'll be able to remove the cover out of your way. And one of the good way to remove the head is to have a magic marker, any kind of Sharpies. Mark the hose that goes to the fitting. In other words, mark the hose with the letter A and the same letter A on the fitting. And then when you come back here, you do have a variety of hoses coming in, so you can always designate them as B fitting, B hose, C fitting, C hose, and on. That way, if you come back, you want to put the head of the pump back on, you will not go through any kind of confusion. Now, let's say we've already taken the pump off the unit and we brought it to the table, and we're going to go ahead and do our repairs. Some of the tools that you're going to need, you do need a 30 millimeter socket, a 1-inch deep socket, a 3/16 Allen wrench socket, or you can always use a regular Allen wrench. You need a very sharp or very fine flat screwdriver. Possibly you need a safety pin, some kind of needle nose pliers, definitely a 9/16 wrench, a scissors, and some scuffing pad, which you can probably find in your kitchen areas. I've already designated two separate areas, one with the old parts and one with the new one, because it is very important for you not to mix up the old damaged part with the new one, because some of them, they do look like new, but they have lost their performance. In other words, some of the O-rings that we're going to pull out, they might look good, but the O-rings, the job of the O-ring is kind of create a cushion for the check valve to be able to bounce up and down. So if you happen to use the old O-ring, which has lost its flexibility, you may cause severe pulsation after the job is done in your line, which is not going to be good. So that's why I went ahead and separated the two areas. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to go ahead and start getting to the problem where the problem exists. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my 1 1/4 inch wrench and remove the injector head off. Put it to the side. Come back in with my 30 millimeter, loosen up my injector body. Now, if the head of the pump has gone through meltdown, that means the check valve inside of here is also bad. That which we already explained this to you in another video, prior video that I've already posted for you. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and remove all my top cap and side cap by using my 1-inch socket. Just like I said in the prior videos, try to be organized with your parts. Do not throw them all over the place, because when you want to go and put everything back together, you don't want to go through a hard time kind of, looking for them. We're going to take the front end ones off. here. The reason I'm taking these off because I want to transfer the head of the pump to the table vise. That way we can get some light into those chambers and show you the problems. Almost one more. Got gets to go. Here we go. Take that. Okay, so remember we have now 5 caps, and your injector body is gonna act as a 6th one. I'm gonna put this away. Now, since I have limited time on these videos, I'm just gonna use air to take these head bolts off. Always make sure that you enter the Allen wrench or your socket in. Get them out again, organize. Alright, let me get this out of the way. Of course, the glass has got to go on. Alright, if we look in here, you can see some of the check valves are stressed. Now, the check valve, look, if you look at it, it's kind of damaged because it's burned. I'm going to put, remember the old parts, we're just going to go and put them where they belong. That way we don't mix them up. Here's another one. Now, sometimes the overheating could be so severe that even you might have to dig those check valve out because they're going to be so damaged that you might be all melted inside a cylinder. So you have to do your best to remove all the debris out. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and there's right before you take it off, if you look inside of here, you're going to see your O-rings. Old O-rings have to come out and put away where the old parts are, using either a safety pin or a flat screwdriver. Dig them out. Again, put them separate. That way you don't run into confusion what goes where, which one is the new one and which one is the old one. All right, now what I'm going to do in order to get the front one out, I'm going to pull the pump head off. When you want to take it off, you wobble it up and down. And if you notice, just like the other videos, you're packing your copper channels that are about to come out, so we're going to push them back. Now, here's the signs of damages on your U-cups and your packings and what have you, because these are ceramic plungers. They should be nice and clean. So if you see residues of burnt plastic, that means they do have deposits from the returner cups, the damaged returner cup that we're about to remove. So one of the first thing you do, let me go ahead and remove my bottom by gently putting this inside a vise. You reach in here and get the remaining O-rings off. Again, they're gonna go to the old part department. The last O-ring. Now, of course, remember there was an orifice ring that sits right there. So here we go. I'm gonna put it here. Now, first thing we do, remember, we have to take all the, and I mean, not the first thing, but next thing you're gonna do, you're gonna have to remove your damaged cups. How do we know these cups are damaged? There's 2 signs. Number 1, you see deposit on the plungers. And the worst scenario, when the pump is running, you do get a lot of water leak coming in from this section and putting all over your frame. So we're gonna go ahead and take this off. Doesn't matter how I'm getting them off, but by me putting the new parts in, you'll be able to see how they go. So I'm just gonna remove everything that's supposed to be out. Now, everything's clear. Even if there is residues or deposit here, we're gonna go, you need to clean them. You may even have to dip this whole entire head without the fitting inside of a muriatic acid for a couple of hours to melt out any kind of burned plastic deposit. Let's say we've already done all those. We have flushed the head of the pump. It's all nice and beautiful clean. We're gonna put this to the side. We're gonna come back to our plungers now. Now remember, we had residues here. We can put new copper retainers in there with the new seals and everything, and have the old or dirty plungers start traveling through them, because they will damage the copper retainers. One other thing I always use is just a small piece of scuffing pad. I cut it into a strip. I come back in, use me some motor oil, dip it in there. Doing this will save you a good couple $100 replacing this. And all I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and polish all the residues off, just like you're shining your shoes. Your movement should be in a circular movement, not back and forth, because if you start cleaning them in a linear type of movement, you may create microscopic lines and scratches, which is going to damage the new seal. So your movement should be circular. Get a nice ride on this. Any kind of trash out. We're going to come back to the next one. Again, gonna use the cuff right here, very gently. We'll go to the next one. Right back here, we got some more deposit. Beautiful. And the bottom part of them. If there is any little residues, you need to clean them. Again, your movement should be from left to right, not front to back. That way you create this beautiful polished ceramics. Now we're gonna go ahead and get us some paper towel, clean up all the old residues off. Again, if I'm speeding up, it's because I have so much time that I can post a video, a complete video, for you to be able to simply see how it's done. After cleaning all the plungers, of course, hand. Now we're gonna come back in and put the new seals in. Your cylinders here, they're gonna consist of U-cups, 3 U-cups that you have. But you call them U-cups because of the way their shapes are. You do have 3 backup seals, and then of course you do have some pre-packed copper retainers with more U-cup and more seal rings inside of them. In order to insert this, if you notice right there is a small holes. Look, these are called pressure relief holes, which if you look in this plunger, you do see the same ones on each side. If we go that way, if you look in here, you don't see none, but that way towards the bottom of the pump, this is where the water is going to start leaking out in case if they're damaged. In order to put the seals in, first you put your U-cup in. You notice there is a small groove right here for this U-cup to go in. Try to do your best to put them in perfectly sealed. I'm going to go on the next one. Try not to jam them in there. Make sure they're sitting nice and pretty. The position that you go in with the U part going inward. Okay. Now, if you take a good look, right here, there is still enough space left for another seal to go on, which is going to be your backup rings. Look, if you set it right there, you should get a flush surface. Look. So we're just going to place this right there. Here comes the next backup seal. Go into the middle cylinder. And you kind of moved out. Let me just put it back in. I'm trying to rush and get the most out of that video. Here's another one. Now, in order to insert your carb retainers, remember the hole that you had? You got to be kind of close to it. It doesn't have to be exactly on top of the other hole, but as long as it's kind of close to it, that way the back pressure can relieve itself through that hole. Just simply just put it in here with the O-ring going towards in, and slightly push them in right there. Here's another one. There's the hole. Just gonna just pack them in. Here's the last one right there. See, there is a hole on each side, so it doesn't matter which way. As long as the hole is closer to the hole inside of the head, is perfect. That's it. Now we're done with the carb returners. We're gonna come in and put our check valve on. Again, if you're gonna put this in a vise, be extremely gentle. There's no reason for you to jam it in there and cause damages to the head of the pump. And make sure you don't have the vise squeezing these carb retainers in. Now, if we take a look, quick look inside of here, look at the bottom. Again, there is enough groove for an O-ring to go in. Make sure the O-rings are nicely sitting at the bottom. Do not use the old O-rings because they're exposed to heat, chemicals, dirt, what have you. They don't have the bounciness that a new O-ring got. There you go. This is the last one. Take a good look in here. See how nicely it'll sit. Remember prior videos I explained to you to kind of double check your check valve. They're operational, beautiful. The position you put them don't matter. Just drop them in there gently. Here's the next one. Here's the last one. Now we're gonna come in, put our top cap back on. That way we secure our check valve in place because we're about to turn the head sideways. Again, there is a torque requirement on these, which you can see it on your owner manual. But of course, Hi-Pro does recommend, if you don't have a torque wrench, kind of tie them, but do not jam them in there. In other words, do not over tie them, just snug. The last one. That's it. That's it. Now we're going to turn the head upside down. Again, we're going to put it in a vise, but we're going to be kind of gentle again. This is your lower pressure compartment. Again, just like the other one. The other upper one, you put the O-ring inside of the groove. Take a look. I'm just gonna get it in there. Look, it's nicely sit at the bottom. I don't know how camera shows it, but we can eventually later on check it out on YouTube. Here's the next one. Make sure it sits inside of the bottom groove. Now the last one, it is the one with your injector housing. So your orifice plate goes first. Take a look. There is still enough groove left to take a O-ring right after it. Take a look again. We're gonna go ahead and drop our check valves. Boom. Next one. And of course, the last one. All right, here comes the one of the caps, which we can tie these right after we're done. Okay, and of course, here's your injector body. Remember, if the head of the pump is severely melted, you may want to look into the injector condition. Maybe the heat did cause that too. Snug. Snug. Switch. Socket to 30 millimeter. Our injector body going in. Snug. Beautiful. We're done. We just rebuilt a whole entire head of a pump. In order to put this head back on the pump, sorry about the delay, there is a way to do this. You don't just jam it on. First you put it on. Of course, sorry about that. You want to make sure all your plungers are lined up in a row, not in this position, not offset. If you take a look, try to get them lined up as possible in the same row. And then as you put the head on, kind of wobble it up and down very gently. There it is. We're gonna put our head bolts back in. But there is a small little secret you gotta follow, which you probably already know. Of course, after making sure that your the bolts are engaging with the threads inside, and you're not going to strip them by forcing them in there, by simply just try to tie them by hand. Just like the way you install your, let's say you have a flat tire and you're going to replace your flat tire with your spare. You notice how you do your tire lugs not in order, but you do them kind of cross from each other to kind of get the wheel to go on your vehicle evenly. This is how you're going to do these. In other words, you're not going to just start tying from here and go on. You're going to do this side, then you go to the opposite side, then the upper one, lower left, upper right, lower left. So go. Go. Very easy. Look at the way the pump pulleys stuff now. I'm going to come to the opposite side, to the left, and do this bolt. You notice now you pull the back in. I'm going to come to the upper right. You notice the head pulled up. Then I'm going to come to the lower left. Take a look and see what the head's going to do. Kind of moves down. Then I go back up to the upper left. And then, of course, to the lower right. Then, of course, give it some extra snug. Again, same patterns. Up, across, upper left, upper right. Final will be installing your injector head using a 1 1/4 inch to tie it. You can position it wherever you want and just hold on to the injector and do the final tie right there, and you're done. What you just did, you completely rebuilt the head of your pump because you were losing pressure, because maybe for accidentally you connected the pump to hot water, you run the machine dry, and whatever the case. Anyway, this is what the full video showing you how to rebuild the head of the pump and bring your pressure back to life. Other than that, I want to thank you again, and I'll see you in your future videos. Thank you.